ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're going to aquascape the shallow lagoon tank. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. So the rock is finally here, and this is going to be the first time I've used Aquaforest rock. I've used the Carib Sea stuff in the past, and I've used Marco rock. Both have been great. Aquaforest rock is new to me. I actually just recently learned they had rock, and I already had a box, so I picked up 2 more boxes just so I'd have enough to do the scape. Now this is actually made with, I believe it's kind of more of a volcanic rock. It's supposed to be a lot lighter than normal rock and more porous. So we'll give it a test and find out. So let's go get the tank scaped. Oh, that is actually surprisingly lightweight. Got some pretty cool caves already pre-built, so this should make it pretty easy to aquascape with. Lots of nice little arches. So this gives you a pretty good idea what you get in a box. So I'm gonna unbox the other 2 and see what we got to work with for aquascaping. So some of this is obviously double stacked because I ran out of towel space, but we got our 3 boxes here. There's definitely lots of flat chunks, which is good for bases or building shelves. We got some cool caves and got some other kind of base rock. We got the nice flat bottom for the bottom of the tank and more kind of bumpy textured on top. So we should be able to make some pretty cool stuff with this. And yeah, so let's get aquascaping. So starting out, I definitely want to keep this a low aquascape. We are going to never want to go about halfway up the tank, and this one I'm going to keep it pretty low profile. Also with the lagoony look, I do kind of want to push things kind of like little arms or branches coming out, like almost little bommies. So not quite 100% sure where we're going to end up yet, but we're going to start playing and see what we can come up with. Alright, I'm not quite sure if it's 100% there, but I think it's pretty close. So I definitely dig in the top-down view, which is one of the main angles I'm looking for. And I really try to make sure I had a ton of coral mounting space. Now another consideration is there's a lot of those flat bottom pieces that I also used on the bottom, so it'd be a better rock cut out the sand bed to give me more mounting spots. Now there's also a ton of little fish caves all throughout, and little ledges and overhangs. There's a few pieces in here where I feel the transition could be a bit smoother, but we can always tweak that a little more later. But overall, I think this is kind of funky. So I might add some sand and we'll see where we're at. And if we tweak a little bit later, we shall do that. Now sand-wise, I am using a little bit of a mix. I do have some of the Aquaforest Bio Sand, which I'm going to be using this. And that has a bunch of live nitrifying bacteria, as well as some of the good old Carib Sea. This is more like the special grades organic stuff. And this will be more like the filler to fill in, because I don't think I'm gonna have enough of the other one. It's probably gonna turn into a bit of a cloudy mess. You're probably not gonna see much for the next day or so. Now ideally, I would rinse this first, but we're just gonna see how well the Sea filter roller does at getting rid of all the little fines. But I'm going to do a little bit of a base, just filler with this, and I'm going to put the Aquaforest sand on top of it. I did think about going bare bottom, but at the end of the day, I just think that sand looks better. Aquaforest Bio Sand. B Bio Sand, A Bio Sand. Shake well before use. So we got our bottle bacteria to help get things rolling. Filter roller definitely has its work cut out for it tonight. Okay, we got the pumps running again. Got the return pump on, so the Sea filter roller will help cycle this out. Probably gonna burn through a chunk of the roll, but should hopefully clear it up pretty quick. Got the MP40s on now, so that's putting flow through the tank. Turned them down to 20% for now, just so they don't mess with the sand too much. And now we're gonna dump in our bottled bacteria, and this is the stuff that came with the sand, and this is the Aquaforest. So there's an A and a B. So it's been about 5 days since I scaped it, added the sand. I've just been letting things kind of run and settle in for a few days. Now overall, I'm pretty stoked with the scape. Looks really cool top down and pretty sweet from the side too. Now because the tank is so shallow, it's only 4 inches tall, I had to keep a very low profile scape. And I did use some of like the base rock kind of extruding out of the sand as part of the scape. So super stoked for how things turned out. And I'm gonna start adding some fish and coral in today. So a couple things that I have done in between these two baffles is a ton of media that I have taken out of my water box. So I added some fresh media to the water box and I took out a ton of media from there. So there's those Polyp Lab Genesis plates. I got 4 in the bottom, plus I have probably 12 of those eShots Biolux. On top of that, I also have a marine pier brick and I have my Brightwell brick over there, and those will be moved in. I've also been dumping in copious amounts of Microbacter 7. So I think we're at a pretty good place now. So I think I'm going to start collecting some coral and some fish and moving stuff into the tank. Now the one little wild card still is on a couple of the rocks, especially the mushroom one. There's a bunch of those little vermitid worms, snails, whatever the heck they are, the little two spiky guys. So I'm either going to break them off or I'm going to see if I can pop off the mushrooms and just glue them on a new rock. See all those little pokey little buggers. So I think we're going to go with the break apart the rock approach and just re-glue the good mushrooms. So we get them off, I think I'm just going to use a little dab of glue and we will put them onto the new rock. Now if you try to glue the mushroom's foot, it's very slimy and it wouldn't stick very well, which is kind of why I'm breaking off a chunk of rock with it, because then I can at least glue the rock to the new rock. Alright, so I got them all busted off. I think I got all the shrapnel, all the good stuff off. And I re-glued them to the new piece of rock. And we have our first life into the tank. Super bright mushroom rock. I am placing some rock flowers in over here, and I am turning off the flow to start, just to make sure they have some space to settle in without being blown away. So hopefully it'll attach to their foot in the next little bit, and we can turn our flow back on. So we put a good dent into it, but there's definitely still lots to do. So taking a look at the tank so far, definitely did start to move coral into it. So we got little bits of coral throughout. Looking in the back, I have some of the green goblin Anarchopora, some of the deep water stuff. Now that grows pretty big in my water box. So I put that in the back so I can kind of grow outwards backwards. I did put the rock flowers over here, but it looks like they decided a couple of them moved over there. So this might be the little rock flowery lagoon area. We'll see where things settle out. Little stripy dumpkin, just a couple random chalices. Some random favias, got my mushroom rock, so I re-glued them all onto here. So hopefully they settle in and start to open back up. Same thing over here, a couple Euphilia, little gawny, bounce mushrooms, and a couple more Euphilia, single layer in the back. And I got little toadstools, which I have one there and one there. So overall, I think it's starting to look pretty darn good as we start to transition things back into the tank. Really just want to get rid of this big temporary bin behind me so I have space in my office again. But yeah, overall, it's looking pretty good. If we come down below, started to clean up the wires, definitely got more to do. Started to make a little bit of a scape in here. So I'm going to have a bit of a mini scape down here. And we have the Focustronic light here. So I'm going to let this chunk be completely automated. Dosing wise, I did pull off the calc and calcium reactor for now, and I put the Algotronic and Dosetronic on. So I'm going to try fully automating it and see how that goes. Just to kind of mix it up. Kind of want to do something completely different on this tank than on my water box. Alright guys, so here you go. Fruits of the labor so far and the start of the Shallow Reef Lagoon tank. As always, if you guys enjoyed this, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next update.